All right, guys, welcome back to the Home Service Expert. Today I got Aaron Stokes with me. He's a buddy of mine. I was with him last week. He's an expert in sales business based out of Franklin, Texas, founder of Auto Fix and Shop Fix Academy. 25-year veteran of the automotive repair industry who uses expertise and experience to help other auto repair shop owners build successful businesses. He provides innovative management coaching and trained based on knowledge and acquired growth of the automotive repair. Eurofix, AutoFix, and Mike's Automotive. The list goes on, but you also do a broadcast radio show, Fixing Cars with Aaron Stokes. And you just had a huge event.
Yep, we sure did. And it is Franklin, Tennessee, not Franklin, Texas. I got to correct that.
Oh, Franklin. It is Tennessee. I just read it wrong. I know where you live because I was just there.
Yeah. Hey, you're not telling the pilot where to go. You're just like, just get me there. No, yeah. The event went awesome. We had a great time.
So you have how many people?
Spoke at.
What's that?
The same one you spoke at last year.
Yep. No, it looked amazing. How many people were there?
Almost 2,000.
2,000. And how many people do you have in your coaching program, companies?
Oh, gosh. I have, I'm roughing it here, 800 service advisors, about 1,800 technicians, 1,200 owners, 1,600 locations, and I think we're tickling 3.6 billion in revenue that we're coaching now.
And tell us the story. I know you grew up kind of like I grew up, and you went through the automotive. You bet everything. I love your story. Can you share it with everyone?
Yeah, I'll give you kind of the short Reader's Digest, but yeah, I'm 8th grade education, no high school education, never went to college, went to work full time, did remodeling, did construction like a lot of your people do, and knew how to work on stuff, and found myself buying and flipping cars, doing it in a little barn behind my single wide trailer. Had recently got married and was there with my wife, having babies and doing the deal. And 21 years old when I got started. Eventually got to work in town, got my second location, and then got my third location, then got into car sales. Then I had a car sales manager steal from me, lost over $1 million. That set me way back. Taught me a lot. And then people started asking me to help them. I started giving some advice here and there. And then before you know it, I had people start asking me more aggressively. So then I shot my first course on a cell phone. And I think that first course, it's still out there. So, I mean, yeah, that first course made me millions just teaching that. It was crazy, and made a lot of other people millions. And then the coaching came, and then the systems came, and then everything kind of came together and built it into what it is today. I've got multiple businesses on the automotive side. I got the coaching side, and then a bunch of other accessory businesses all around that. All in probably, 75, 80 million, and then 340 employees and contractors now working for me. And then got, and I need to say this part. I met my wife on the internet in 1996. It did not exist back then. I was on CompuServe in a chat room. And so, I met my wife back then. So a lot of there's, little one-off stories around this that kind of got me to where I am today, but very thankful. And, it's God's grace that we haven't burned it down yet. So, that's the super, super short version. There's a lot more detail to it, but I will say anybody out there who's been stolen from, I know how you feel. That's a special feeling of violation that cannot be described. And I think just about every small business owner, including you, and all of us out there, if you don't have your business ran tight, you don't have your financials tight, and your systems tight, you are being stolen from. Either a lot or hopefully very, very little, but we are all at some point being stolen from.
When you started this, one of the things I've noticed is people don't really know their numbers. I noticed a lot of distrust when people would come until they saw my shop. They looked at the numbers, they saw decimal points, they saw every single thing from the way we do things. There was a budget. We know exactly our booking rate, we know our conversion rate, we know where we need to work on the business. Where do you think you got the first buy-in? What was the like aha where everybody's like, man, this guy has got it figured out, and that attracted a lot of people to you?
Number one, my ability to speak. I'm good on stage, and I think any leader who wants to lead a fast growing organization needs to be able to speak. Yourself included. You can speak. And if you can't get in front of your team and say, look, it really sucks out there, but we're about to go knock that wall down, and we are going to overcome. We are going to figure this out. We are going to pull together. We are going to be a team, and loan out confidence 0% to your team. I don't think that you can grow. I think you have to be able to oratate. You have to be an orator. You have to stand up, speak the future as if it is the truth today, right now, like it's happening right now. And I've seen you do it. And every successful business owner I know who's been through hard times has had to master that. So I think that was the number one thing that drew people to me. As far as systems, 2008, we had the Cash for Clunkers hit. And Cash for Clunkers, while it didn't affect a lot of other people, the automotive industry, it really screwed up because it forced in a down economy all of the new car manufacturers just to boom. For us, it took a massive amount of work off the streets. All these cars got traded in and crushed, which made no sense because then the used car market got in trouble because all the poor people had no cars to buy. And then on top of that, all of us had a major downturn in auto repair. It was about a 25% average across the country. Mostly that's pretty conservative. Some guys felt it 10, 15%. Some felt it 40, 50%. When that happened, I had to sit down and come up with formulas. And those formulas that I now teach today, I had heard about gross profit per hour, but I didn't really understand it. And so, for example, like for you and anybody else who's operating out of a truck or van, I know it's not all home service guys. Maybe somebody who builds a deck, they're at a job for a week. But if you're doing small jobs and you're driving, I need to know my gross profit per hour, my overhead cost hour, my net hour, and my sales hour. In my overhead cost hour, I've kind of nicknamed that OUCH, OHCH. Ouch, overhead cost hour. I want to know what every hour when I'm in front of a customer costs me. And so that means if I'm driving, if I'm one of your techs, Tommy, between houses, I'm not getting paid, right? You're not getting paid. But when I'm at the house, I'm getting paid. But that overhead that you just paid me to drive the van, drive the truck for 20 minutes to get to Mrs. Jones's house has to be allocated somewhere on the P&L. There's insurance, there's gas, there's wear and tear on the tires. So that is all pushed on to Mrs. Jones's appointment. So Mrs. Jones's appointment doesn't just pay me for standing there and working. It also pays me for driving there, right? And pays the girl who's in a booth who took the call that booked it, et cetera, et cetera. So I need to know that overhead cost hour so I know that my gross profit per hour is always above that at all times. And so what will happen is, a lot in auto repair, the term 60% gross profit is kind of the standard. The problem with that is it doesn't account for gross profit per hour. So I'll do an example and try to relate it to maybe HVAC or plumbing or garage doors. So let's say that a guy shows up, fixes something in an hour in your world, and he has a part, whether it is a garage door motor, a panel, a disposer for a plumber or a compressor, for an HVAC guy or whatever. But they show up and we can't do a compressor. Let's just say maybe it's a board or something that doesn't require, evac and recharge a freon. They show up and they do the deal and they leave. They're only there an hour. Well, let's say we're paying the tech $30 an hour. And let's say that we're charging the customer $100 an hour for just easy math. That's $70 in gross profit dollars on the labor side. But we might dig into it and find out that your overhead alone was $150. So the $70 of gross profit that came in doesn't get close to covering that. So then we have to look at the parts. What did we sell the customer? Well, if we sold the customer something that we bought for $100, that we resold for $500. Now, that's a lot of markup, but I'm just using it for an example. That's a $400 parts gross profit or materials gross profit. So what I tell people is, what is the gross profit in total? And they go, well, it's $400. Well, and plus the hourly, so that we paid the technician, that's $70. So $470 is my gross profit. And you did that with 1 hour. And they're like, yeah, 1 hour. I said, let's imagine you got a camel walking across the desert. My goal is to load that camel up. He represents 1 hour with as much crap as I possibly can. Parts, materials. Because if each technician is a storefront, we have to make sure that we are selling through that technician for every hour he's working. So he gross profited $470. Our overhead cost was $200. That means our net should have been $270. So in 1 hour, the company net profited $270. But let's flip it. If we stop and think about it, the gross profit on that job may have been high, may have been low. But what if it hit the minimum 60% GP, at least in automotive, that we shoot for? You might say, oh, dude, that was awesome. Well, there's some jobs that'll fool you. For us, if I have a Dodge diesel roll in, it's a head gasket. Or if I have a guy roll in and he wants to do a rear main seal, and it's 8 hours of labor and $150 an hour, and it's a $30 part, something like that. I'm selling tons of hours, tons of camels, right, that are designed to carry a load with no parts. So these camels are walking across the desert carrying nothing. So this technician's working all day carrying nothing. I got a bay right next to it with a technician, and he's going to do a job, and he's going to go, listen, man, this customer, Mrs. Jones, she needs a computer for her Camry. She needs a ECM. And so this ECM is going to run, $1,400, and we're going to pay $1,000 for it. 1 hour labor to install and program it. And we're like, okay. So we're only making $400 in gross profit. But if you do the math, if I was to stop and think about it, if I pay $1,000 for something, so $1,000, and I divide that by 1,400, I've got a 29% gross profit. That's low. And even with some labor gross profit, it's still low. So we're all going to ask everybody, would you do this job? Would you do this job? Most will say no. But this is where gross profit in total, if you take P&L math and apply it to this, is lying to you. Because gross profit by the hour, he just made me $400, bought the computer for $1,000, sold $1,400, made me $400. And if I paid him 1 hour and he cost me $30 an hour and I made $70, he made me $470. And he did it in 1 hour. So while the gross profit on the job may suck, gross profit, maybe the whole thing with even labor, maybe it's 34%, but gross profit by the hour is amazing. And what I see is most business owners confuse P&L math with repair order math. P&L math is when you lump all of your materials, all of your sublet, all of your labor into those three categories. And then we take all of the revenue that came in and we get to keep the difference. But when it comes to just the actual repair order, each job must stand on its own, and you don't treat it with normal gross profit. You actually have to do it by the hour. And when I came in and started doing that, it revolutionized everything. I started telling people, you don't have to hit 60% GP. Guys this dude went and wrote a 6-page article on me in Tire Monthly magazine saying how I had destroyed the auto industry and I was the most harmful thing, and broke down all of his math of why I was wrong. He didn't understand what I'm telling you now. He didn't have a clue. And so when you really stop and think about it, it doesn't matter if you're a plumber. It doesn't matter if you're an electrician, a garage door repairman, a mechanic, a body shop guy. It didn't matter. A doctor even. Gross profit by the hour, when you're doing the job, is the only way you measure profitability.
Right.
Gross profit totals are done only in a monthly profit and loss format. That's it.
I was on a podcast probably 8 years ago, and this guy from Australia sent me this form, and it was a really outdated one, but he had the yellow book, he had all the pagers, he had like kind of archaic stuff, but he goes, look, I figured out this is the most you could get a guy working. If he's driving to the shop to get his truck, he's driving to the job, then you got to figure out his lunch break, and this was very old. It was late 90s, the math. And he goes, to make a profit, you need to charge $400 an hour labor in the home.
In the 90s.
Yeah, that was in the home, because a lot of people are like, I see these Facebook groups and these guys that are still working out of their house, and they're like, well, shoot, if I only paid $70 for the part, like if I paid $30 for a capacitor and I charge $400, I'm making, $370. But they never figure out the insurance, the wear and tear on the vehicle, the CRM, that, your wife's working for free. Your son's the job guy that you're paying $10 an hour to. And the argument I always had is most companies, they argue that you might be charging too much, but the most they pay is $55,000. They don't have any benefits. And I always say, you screw your employees over to give your customers a good deal. And you're really only making a living. You're not building enterprise value for your business.
100%. And the worst part is that same person says, there's no good employees. No one wants to work for me. I can't find anybody. Can't service the customers that are beating on their door. So then they want to market when they can't even take care of who's calling now, because they think, oh, I just have a slow time this week. I need to start marketing. Wait a second. Last week, though, you were blown out and you told 5 people no. And the way they say no is they don't actually say no. They say, can you wait a couple days? Well, somebody's HVAC, let's be real. In your town, in Phoenix, nobody's waiting. In Nashville, Tennessee, with all this community, nobody's waiting. They want somebody now. So you have to be able to say yes. So you have to staff to be able to say yes. So not only do you want to take care of your employees, to take care of your customers, you actually have to staff where you want to be, which means to a degree, you're giving up net profit to get to that next level. And there's a place, don't get me wrong, where you level off and you're able to scrape that cream off the top. But people have to understand that every business is probably out there surviving in spite of us. As owners, we're always trying to kill our business. And somehow the stupid thing just keeps surviving. And we all look around and we're like, I went and looked at a shop yesterday. I could not believe how bad it was. It had premium luxury and everything on the outside. Total dump. Nicest sign in the world. Total dump. And I think that people don't get this. They don't understand. You have to charge right for the customer, not just for the customer, but for the employee that you're taking care of, and for the customer to have a better experience. Because that 55K guy you're talking about versus the 90K guy, the 55K is who knows what he's gonna say. And let's be real, who costs you the most money? The 90K or the 55K?
Yeah, the
55K is the one that breaks everything, screws up. You keep them around for years, because what do we all tell our spouses and our other employees? He's only 55 grand. We can't fire him. He's cheap. But the 90K guy, he screws up one thing. You fire him. That's the thing. It's a double standard. People don't understand that. They are literally holding themselves down, and the business is fighting, trying to grow without even any marketing. That's the crazy part. And then when they do market and don't increase staff to handle what they are honestly every time shocked by, which is customers calling like, holy crap, the marketing actually worked. Because they don't have any more staff, they have to tell everybody no. It's just another tax in the business, and it just makes them more broke.
I had a guy, a good buddy of mine who works for me now again. He worked for me, top player. And the prima donna syndrome, they think, man, you must be making all this money. He left on good terms. A guy offered him 10% of the company. So he went over there and he's crushing it. But the guy can only keep him busy for a couple jobs a day. And he's texting me. He's like, I just closed another 5,000, just closed another 9,000. And the guy said, when you're not working, you're going to come here and sweep the floors and mop. And this is one of the top guys in my company at the time. Never got his equity. And what he missed the most was the infrastructure, the brotherhood, the knowing his numbers. And the fact is that I kept him busy. More than anything, he was busy. He didn't wait around for jobs. He wasn't having to sweep floors. And he said, I didn't know what I had. And that's the best testament, is I've had about 5 guys in my whole company history, the last 2 decades, top performers that left on good terms, that came back and said the grass isn't greener. And people are always trying to steal, thinking it's the people. Well, really what it is the leadership of like, how do you perform in front of your people? And do you get behind them? And do you explain these things? Because I think a lot of people wonder, well, if I'm a top performer and they don't know the math, and how important would you say it is that you inform your mechanics of why, because they must think you're rolling in gold, man. They must think you take, showers and like, wow, they're charging this. I know what the parts cost. I know what they pay me. But I don't think they really understand what the rent is and how much these hoists take care of and what it costs to get the front
Yes.
line. And do you ever spend time with the
Oh yeah.
staff kind of?
We share the profit and loss with the managers, and then the managers explain it to the staff. And then in the old days, I just pin the P&L on the wall, and everybody's like, "Holy crap! Look at all those line items. All that stuff costs money." If you do $100,000 in a month, they think you cleared 90. That's what they always they always believe that. But to your grass is greener comment, dude, people don't understand. Grass is only greener where they water it, and AstroTurf exists. And people will claim the grass is greener, and they get there and they realize it's AstroTurf, and it's not what they thought. What we have to make sure that our team members understand is that we are giving them our all to create an amazing workplace. And when they do go over there and then they come back, for you, Tommy, you want that guy telling everybody, this is the best. This is the best. I've been somewhere else. I've come back. I know. And I will tell everybody out there, it's going to happen. You can't stop it. People are going to leave. They're going to come back. You can't stop it. However, you can do the best job you can, being the best workplace you possibly can. So if they do leave, they desperately want to come back. And be mature. Don't give them attitude when they walk out. Don't say a bunch of crap. You treat them with respect, because at the end of the day, you do hope they return. You do hope that ends up working out. I've had some very, very bad experiences with people that have left, and I've had some great ones. I'm sure you as well. You want to always take the high road. Their behavior does not dictate my reaction. My core values dictate my reaction. And so I'll go, you know what? Hey, God bless you. If that's what you want to do, if that guy's going to give you equity, okay, whatever. But I'm going to make sure my guys have an AC shop. They've got the best reviews. They have amazing parts managers. They have amazing sales teams. We have an amazing marketing budget. The shop has an amazing reputation, and they are busy. Even if I pay $2 less an hour, my shop has so many hours coming through. That's how mechanics work. We are so busy. They make more money working for me than they will make working for anybody else. And that sounds like that's what that guy discovered with you. He may have gotten paid more per job, but he didn't make more money. He made less money, and he probably came back to you because of that. And so I think that a lot of owners, they don't understand our job is to create a culture for them to succeed, not for us to succeed. We get to succeed as a byproduct. Our job is to connect, the 5 things, right? We're connecting the landlord, because you're leasing a building, or I'm leasing a building, or somebody, or we become the landlord, whatever. We're connecting the parts manufacturers. Then we connect salespeople. Then we connect the technician, all with the customer. And then our job is to make the spread. So we got to get everybody to come together and work together as a team, and then we get what's left over. And that works if you do it right. If you do it wrong, then you take all the risk, and, well, you end up owing everybody else, and you don't get anything back.
It sounds like you really understand the deepest level of finance. And I think the hard part for most companies that I find is you don't know my market. You don't understand. People aren't going to spend that kind of money here. And I've heard it. I mean, I'm in almost 40 markets. And wherever I send my top 50 guys, their numbers never change. It's the same price book throughout every single market. And I know people might say, well, Wichita, Kansas is a little bit different than, LA or whatever. But I found that to not be true. And I think the biggest, hardest part is believing that that's all excuses. So I'm sure you run into the same problem as you don't understand my industry. You don't understand my market. People aren't going to pay those prices. There's chuck in a truck. There's no way that's competitive. And how do you deal with that with owners, the mindset of you don't know my business? You don't understand, Aaron.
Yeah, I get that every day, 5 times a day. We got a lot this weekend. So here's the deal. I'll give you an example. Let's just use garage doors. So let's say you're coaching me, and I'm saying to you, man, you don't know the Nashville market. You don't know Tennessee. And you go, Aaron, it's working in Phoenix. And I heard Nashville's got money. And I'm go, oh, you don't know. It's different. It's different. And so I'm giving you this BS excuse.
Right.
And what's the excuse for it? I'm a victim ultimately. I'm probably a crappy boss and everything else, but whatever. So I'm giving you this excuse, and you can tell anybody who's personally developed, by the way, when you're coaching or giving advice to another operator, you can tell the type of person they are as a boss. Like you can talk to them and go, this guy's not very sharp. This girl's not on it. They need some personal development. They don't know people. And so I can tell that a lot of times, or I might say they are developed, but they've lied to themselves. And I'm saying this to myself in my head. And I look them right in the eye and I go, the principles do not change, but the details do. They go, what? I go, the principles do not change, but the details do. And so let's think about it for a second. Let's say that garage doors are more expensive there than they are here. And it's because, let's just say your labor is more expensive. Well, then you might look at me and go, Aaron, you're going to buy the same Clopay door from so-and-so, and you're going to pay the same price I'm going to pay. Now, ignoring the fact that you might get volume discounts, let's just say two similar sized operators. And so, okay, I'll pay the same price. However, Aaron, and you're also, I'm going to run Ford trucks. You're going to run Ford trucks. Okay. But maybe in Phoenix, the median income is higher, and I got to pay my techs more, but it also means I get to charge more, and so it's working out. And then in Tennessee, my techs, you're paying $40 an hour, I'm paying $30 an hour, and you might look at me and go, Aaron, holy crap, you're getting an extra $10 an hour. You got to leverage that. And I go, oh, there's no way my customers won't pay it. There's no way. Well, let's stop and think for a second. Let's go to the home office of these two garage places. Your home office and your garage place, let's say my market is just awful and your market is great. You might be paying $20,000 a month for your warehouse with all your equipment and all your stuff. And mine, I'm out in the country. It's a poor market. Let's pretend it's not even Nashville. And I'm paying $3,000 a month. And I got twice the space you do because it's dirt cheap. You're paying $40 an hour for an operator to answer the phone and be really slick and sell appointments. And I'm paying $15 an hour. We can just keep going down the list. My insurance is less. Everything's less. So technically, you could run a higher gross profit and I could run a lower gross profit. But your bills are more. And so you might say, Aaron, I want to clear my 20% net. And you clear your 20% net after you pay all your stuff. And for me, let's say that I'm not able to get as high gross profit. Let's say you're getting a 50% gross profit. I'm only getting a 45. But if you're getting a 50 and your overhead's 30% of your revenue, what if my overhead's only 25% of my revenue? If I'm only getting a 45% GP and my overhead's only at 25% of my revenue, 25% of my overhead, then I can step back and go, wait a second. So if I'm doing $100,000 a month, if I gross profit at only 45,000, Tommy gross profit at 50, at 45,000, if my overhead was only 25,000, I still made $20,000. Tommy had 50,000 of gross profit and his overhead was higher. He had 30,000 of overhead. He still net profited $20,000. So holy crap, the principles are the same. The details are a little different, but the principles are the same. It all flushes out. And so I get frustrated with people like AdWords in your industry and my industry. They work in cities. They don't work in a small town. Direct mail, though, kills it in the suburbs, kills it in the country. Does not work well in a downtown market. And we can go down radio. We can go down TV. We can talk about billboards. We can literally go down all this stuff. So what does it all come down to? The principles do not change. It's just the little minor details. And what happens is you're talking to some guy. He's trying to not just throw the details out. He's trying to throw the principles out the window. And you can't throw the principles out the window. Sales is sales. Marketing is marketing. Finance is finance. Understanding how organization comes together to get the appointment, to get the guy there, to be organized. That's all the same. It doesn't cost any different. In fact, in some markets, people need to understand that while they may have more expensive rent, they might be getting their materials cheaper because there's a warehouse in their town where some dude out in the country is having to pay shipping to get his materials. And that's the thing a lot of people, I think, miss. The principles don't change. It's just the little minor details. And they keep throwing the principle out the window. And it's just, honestly, it's not right. They're throwing the baby out with the bathwater, and they need to slow down and pace themselves and just look at the little things and go, okay, You're right, Tommy. It's only this little thing that's different. The rest of it pretty much is all the same. I need to take your advice and do what you said.
How much of the business would you say? I think we always talk, you need the phone to ring and you need to convert customers, which is sales. When it comes to sales training, what are the things you really focus on? The presentation, the tonality, the giving options versus ultimatums where they can only say yes or no, starting the work, building the ticket. What are like the fundamentals to you to make a successful salesperson?
Scripts are for people who cannot sell. People who can sell, scripts are guidelines. That's my first. But everybody who can or cannot sell must know the script. Second, curb selling. Number one. If I can't get that car over the curb, and if you guys can't get your van over the curb into their driveway, we don't have anything, either one of us. So we got to sell the appointment first. So that means we say yes. If a customer calls one of my shops and they said, hey man, how long for an oil change? I'd like to get over there right now in my wife's car. And I turn around and my shop's blown out. I mean, I got cars under cars on the lift, cars in the parking lot on jack stands, cars everywhere. I tell my clients, listen, Tommy, it's just one more car. If you tell Mrs. Jones no right now, she's going to go down to so-and-so, some national franchise, have them change her oil, and then she'll never come to you again. It's about not just collecting, but keeping customers. So we tell her yes, absolutely is now a good time. So if you called me up and you said, hey Aaron, I want to bring my dad's Chevy 1500 by. How much is it for a set of brakes? Absolutely, sir. What makes you think you need a set of brakes? And you go, well, it's squealing when it slows down from what my dad's telling me. Okay, not a problem. I can absolutely give you a free written estimate, no cost to you. Is now a good time? Is now a good time? Is now a good time? He goes, well, can you just give me a price? I'd just love to get a price over the phone, find out what I can do. I got to tell my dad I'm just helping him out, blah, blah, blah. Hey, totally understand. I need to have that checked out by one of my ASE certified technicians. Is now a good time? I'm always now, sense of urgency. Now, I'm in a hurry. Now, how can I take your pain away? I striking when the iron's hot. The check engine light's on now. The squeaking's on now. They're about to leave town now. It's about now. And that customer then is like, no, Rand, I need that price. Is there any way you can give me that price before I come by? Absolutely. At no cost to you, I'll give you that price. Is now a good time? And so I keep repeating this. And then if he gets frustrated, I say, listen, Mr. Customer, wouldn't you rather compare two opinions versus two prices? And he's like, well, what do you mean? Well, if so-and-so has told you it's this much, and I tell you it's this much, you're just comparing prices. But what if it doesn't need brakes at all? The opinion's actually what matters more than the price.
Yeah.
When you show up at my shop's blown out because we are an honest, ethical shop. There's so many cars. You're barely going to be able to get in my parking lot. The quality of my business is evident when you get here. I will take care of you, Mr. Customer, and I will be honest with you because I don't need your money, and you're going to know that when you get here. And so there's a whole approach to if they're trying to get you to meet somebody else's pricing, et cetera. Like if somebody's calling an HVAC guy and they're trying to get him to match a price on a evaporator coil or something, you don't want to get in that game. There's four ways to look at this. They're either calling you while the tech is at their house, right? And if you match that price or you give them a price, they're going to get that tech to just match the price and get the job. Or you're going to tell them the price and you're going to be higher and you're going to confirm they should go with that guy. And so then now you're the expensive guy. They're never going to call you again. Or you tell them that, hey, I can absolutely, beat that price. You give them a price and then they show up and they look around and they show up. You show up because I'm thinking about auto repair. So in the service industry, you show up, you get there, you look at it and you go, holy crap, this thing's totally misdiagnosed. You tell them what's really wrong and it's 4 times as much. Now they're mad at you because it was all based on the other price. They want you to now match what you said on the phone to that lower price. And then the last possible thing out of the 4 is that you were right. The other diagnosis was accurate. It was just an evaporator coil. Your price was cheaper. You showed up, you got the job, you fixed it. So if you get into that game on the phone, 75%, so 3 out of 4 times, you are not going to win and get that customer. Only 1 out of only 25% of the time are you going to win that. So why even go down that game? Train your staff, no prices over the phone, always with an inspection in person, etc. Now, once I've got the car, or for your guys, once they're there, even if the customer goes to work, no big deal. We'll do that over the phone. But we've got possession of it, of the job. No way when they just call in. And so it is all about saying yes every time. And hey, I could also not say yes, but say yes. Like if you call me for an oil change, I could go, oh man, could you leave it with me? I'll squeeze you in. That doesn't give a customer confidence that you can take care of them. If somebody's water heater blows out, you call and they call you up and you tell them, if you can get me to the end of the day, we'll get somebody over there. That's not confidence. It'd be better to say at 5 p.m. we'll be there. It'll be late, but we'll be there at 5 p.m. You got to give them confidence that the appointment's going to happen. That is saying yes. And so the number one thing, in my opinion, besides curb selling, is the ability to say and back up yes. Because so many shops and so many businesses say no without saying it. And that's what's holding their business back.
Yeah, it kills me when I see time slot not available when a client calls. But I literally the second half of the service business is I just was in Denver on Thursday, and I'm talking to this guy. He goes, "Dude, I got home at 11 last night." He's like, and to be honest, I couldn't finish the job, but I got it working. At least they could use their garage now. I got to go back. And so there's this happy medium with capacity of, do guys need more training? Do they need to come back to Phoenix? Should they be on ride-alongs? Do they got to go? Did they get hurt? Do they got a wedding coming up? And capacity planning with a guy that needs to drive out and not overwork them is the hardest thing. It's bad if you're underworking them and bad if you're overworking them. And they can only handle so much of each. And I always say that. What's the toughest thing about home service? Capacity planning. It's trying to match up the perfect. And then it's, if you get a client that says, I got a busted door, I don't care what it costs, I need to get out now. My rule is, if we got to cancel somebody, that's still the first question I ask is, you able to get your car out of the garage? If I cancel and say, could we get out there tomorrow? Here's the situation. Miss Smith, she's 72 years old. She's stuck. We never cancel more than once. Like, hey, I just need a tune-up. Or, hey, yeah, my garage is working great on manual, but I can't. It's capacity plan. We're very good at it. But when I see the call center, we've got the software that tells us why we missed. And literally, I just did a screenshot of the things that annoy me. One of the things is like service fees. We charge, $40 to come out and diagnose the door. We'll get a certified technician, blah, 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 blah. And if they say, listen, I don't want to pay to just find out if there's a problem. I know there's a problem. I'll say, listen, if we're in your area, what are your cross streets? You'll give me your cross streets. I've got a guy out there between this time and this time. I'll tell you what. If you're are you serious about getting the work done if we show up? Are you not a landlord-tenant situation? I just want to know, yes, you got the parts on the truck. You give me a price that's reasonable. Like, that's all. Then I'll waive the service call. I know exactly what to do, but when I've got 70 people on the phones, 70 right now, and just training them and continuing to train them, we're at an 89% booking rate. It just kills me because I see a path to get to 93%. And when you think about that, that's 4%. If we do 300 million, that's $12 million. I mean, the number is now every percent counts. Same thing for cancellation rate. Same thing for the conversion rate. I want to go to a different subject here because you put on a world-renowned, it is spectacular, your events. And everybody, I will say, I've spoken at a lot of events. I feel like everybody's nice. I feel like it's definitely, in my opinion, shop owners right now, they're not in their 20s. There are some out there, but I feel like it's a little bit maybe 40s, 50s, 60s.
Yep.
But they're all drinking the Kool-Aid. Tell me a little bit about the event. Who do you love to have speak? I know you recently had Ed Milet. I'm just curious. I've seen him speak. He's amazing. Great guy from the insurance world. What were some of the guys and gals that have stood out, and what are you trying to get? I know you're trying to get community. You're trying to get everybody together. It's important to feel part of something. But what's the goal? What do you love about it? What are your favorite things about the speakers?
Yeah, we almost a year ago said we're going to stop doing this event. It is so hard to pull off. And for those that are in the event business, they get it. But I will tell anybody who's wanting to do events, there's a wall around probably 300 people. And then you got to get to that next level of organization. It gets hard. There's another one around 1,000. That 300 to 1,000, you can kind of maintain the same systems. And then the wall at 1,500 people is like 30 stories tall. It's like the wall of China. It's just so hard to get over. And when you cross that, you'll get your butt handed to you if you don't have it dialed in. People don't understand that 1,800 people, 1,900 people, they're all little heaters, and they break HVAC systems. They destroy bathrooms. Like, you're going in and you're counting, you're putting your hand. Like, when I go tour a hotel for an event, I literally, all those stupid digital sinks, I'm putting my hand under each one to see if they work. When we do an event there, we come in, we put paper towel holders on every single counter with those ones that stack up. We put bottles of soap on every counter because we can't depend on the little sensor ones because they half the time don't work and they slow it down. I get lines of men all the way out the door. So every split second matters. We don't worry about the little trash can on the wall. We put in a big 50-gallon trash can for all the paper trash. We prop the door open. We don't have them opening it and shutting it. People don't get this, but it's a huge thing. I call all the restaurants in a 3-block radius 4 weeks beforehand, every week for 4 weeks, to remind them that there's a small town coming to these 5 hotels. And to pull it all, I own all my own AV equipment. We got 600 grand worth of AV equipment. We outfit 15 classrooms with everything from a camera recording the guy speaking, so he'll have a mic for that, to another camera recording the room for level loading. We watch from a main spot all the different capacities of the rooms to make sure if one room gets super popular, another room has almost no one in it, we pull the popular group out and put them in a bigger spot. And we'll save a bigger room waiting to see, because we try to anticipate. We study titles and speakers to see who are the most popular titles and the most popular speakers. Because we found with a bad title, we can still pack a room even if the guy's not a good speaker.
With a good title.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, with a good title, I said that backwards. And so,
give me an example of a great title. I'm just curious. You piqued my interest here.
Yeah. 5 ways AI can grow your shop in 2025. So, and a bad title would be something like, what would be a bad title for AI? I only think about the good stuff. I don't think about the bad stuff. Come learn how auto repair and AI can work together. Something like that. That would be a bad title. Yeah. And numbers help. You want, when you associate the 5 dirty secrets of AI and auto repair, that helps. That creates curiosity. Curiosity is the number one thing for marketing people need to think about. Hallways with giant groups are a huge issue. You might think 15 feet wide is enough for everybody to come around the corner. They won't all come at once. Not true. You can't have it ever pinch down less than 20 feet. I mean, it's just, I have to pay attention to all the vendors. Certain vendors don't like other vendors, so they can't be next to each other. I got to put them way apart, I have to pay attention to how it flows. I buy $90,000 in Mountain Dew, Diet Coke, Dr. Pepper, Diet Dr. Pepper, Coca-Cola, Sprite, and root beer, all on piles of ice. Peanut M&Ms, Snickers, Rolos, granola bars, fruit, everything else from the hotel. 90 grand worth to hit my F&B minimum. And then I do everything else off site. I do, the big barn with the barbecue across the way that you went over to us with us. Everything I do out of the norm. I try to make sure the hotels are very affordable. I try to make sure there's lots of restaurant support close to the airport, right off the interstate. A lot of things I look for. And then I just need size. I will say, as far as speakers go, and I need to wrap one little thing up and put a bow on it. We thought about canceling this event because it was so hard. But I had to remind my team, when you're the biggest event in the space, it brings a certain level of authority with it. And you cannot ignore that authority. That authority is real. That authority is, it's given to you by God. You're affecting that industry. And if you stop doing that, that goes away. And when you're in the room, a Jesse Itzler or Ed Milet or a Tommy Mello or somebody who's aggressive is on the stage, and the audience is really interactive, it makes a massive difference. And you felt this yourself, Tommy. The larger the crowd, the more authority you feel to speak over the crowd. When you yell, "Hell no," you feel more authoritative. It's the power of an orator. And if you've never gotten on stage, you won't understand this, but the crowd draws it out of you. So if you do a good job of curating the crowd, keeping the AC and the heat, depending on the time of year, perfect. Make sure the chairs are comfortable. The aisles are big enough. You give enough breaks. Like I run a massive conference with breaks. If you go to any of these huge conferences that Tony Robbins puts on, anybody else, those conferences have no breaks. It's one giant session, no breakouts, and they never stop. They just run the whole time. You
till
just get up to the
midnight, till
bathroom.
2 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah, they never stop. By us getting everyone up and making everybody go to breakouts and everyone up and everybody come to breakouts, we do 45-minute teachings, 30-minute breaks. This year we added a food court outside with bathroom trailers and coffee trailers and everything else. I covered all that, made it part of the event cost. All of that, it just made an incredible experience for the members, and it allowed for networking. And then we blast the general session out in sound in certain spaces. Internet's a huge deal. We never offered internet till this year because that many people will take your internet down. We had to take the mission control for the stage from the back of the room to the front of the room right next to the stage just so it wouldn't interrupt the wireless mic. And then at the back of the room, we only had sound control and then a camera. So we had to change a lot of things up this year. You would have loved it. It was upgraded even more from last year. All that being said, as far as speakers go, the kind of speakers that I love are people with real life experience who are willing to get passionate on stage. I don't care about articulate. I don't care about their intelligence level. I care about their ability to connect with an audience, make them feel something, and point them in the right direction. That's what I want. So Ed Milet crushed it. Jesse Itzler crushed it. You crushed it last year. You were one of our highest ratings ever. So if y'all ever want to get a good speaker, Tommy's great. Bill Courtney was awesome. His nickname is Coach. Chris Voss was awesome. We've had Marcus Lemonis, Mike Rowe. Mike Rowe was incredible. What a master storyteller. Incredible. Who else have we had? Dave Ramsey was incredible. We had Dave Ramsey out. He brought the house down. There's a lot of great speakers I'd love to have back. Phil M. Jones. Phil Jones is good. Mike McCallowix is good. I'm trying to remember them all. Andre Norman. Andre Norman was awesome.
Oh, yeah. Andre's a good buddy of mine.
So, yeah, we had Andre out. So, point being, you want a speaker. And I will say this. The price of a speaker, I have swapped with a bunch of speakers before and say, I'll speak at your event, you speak at mine.
Yep.
But if you're hiring people that are just, celebrity, just for anybody else who's putting on an event, I'll say this. You are not paying for their skill as a speaker. You are paying for their fame. The more famous they are, the more expensive they are. That does not mean they are the best speaker. I will just say that. And if you go down the list and you go, well, wait, Aaron didn't mention this person. That may be why I'm not mentioning that person, because you can see who's been to my events. But the fame is what you pay for. The quality of the speaker, you might get a guy for 15 grand who blows away somebody who's 150 grand or
Right.
250. And so at the end of the day, you want to research, find them on YouTube, listen to their stuff. Also try to find them without screen. You want to just hear it. There's some power in just listening to someone talk. And then make sure from there that you think they're the right fit for your audience. They don't have to know your industry. People are people. At the end of the day, I could speak to your audience. It'd be the same as you speaking to my audience. We're in the home service. It's blue collar. We get it, right? We grind it out. But I think that a lot of people are forgetting the power of events, and huge events at that. COVID really screwed all that up. We have fought to bring them back. And this year it did get so hard to pull off. We questioned, should we just, do 2 decent sized events? I had 4 people that I know about that got saved this last event. We do a church service in the morning before all of it starts. And then we do an optional church service at like 9 p.m. at night on the middle night. We also do a mindset talk on one of the middle nights, just talking about personal development. And this event, I didn't hear about any, but the one you were at last year, We had a group of people get baptized in the hotel pool. I mean, it's just like crazy crap happening. I tell people all the time, I joke, but we are an underground church with a mandatory offering. And that's how it really is ran. And so, you know, we give, and I sponsor people all the time. We probably sponsor anywhere from 40 to 50,000 a month in dues from people that are going through hard times. There's a responsibility that people don't always know when you start getting to this higher level, that it's pressure. And I know you know what it's like. You're carrying it. It's pressure. You're trying to help all these people. And so, bottom line, events are powerful. Live events in person change lives, not on Zoom, in person, and they are needed. And the bigger the event, the more powerful the breakthrough. And it gets to become a pain in the butt. Big events are a pain in the butt. They're hard. They're hard. I mean, crap breaks, toilets break, toilets clog. People smoke in a bathroom and set off a smoke alarm and it evacuates all the air conditioning. Things go wrong. However, live events are worth it and they change lives.
You know, some 3 people have sent me that AI, no one's really going to trust what they see, and these in-person, especially events, are going to become more and more important the next 5 years. And they're just going to grow, and people are going to get sick of just, is this AI, is this and social media? They're just going to want, hopefully, to interact. I mean, I know kids these days, they're in front of an iPad and they could go forever without leaving the house. But I think just my generation, we want to be around people. We want to just – and then you get the other people there, and I know we got to close up here, but you get the people that come to every single event. Every event I've spoken at, they're at that event.
Yeah.
I mean, they're at the one with 15 people. They're at the one with 300. They're at an event they shouldn't even be at. And I'm like, are you working? I mean, have you applied any of this? You know what I mean? Have you seen those people?
Oh, dude, yeah. And you're like, you just need to go and focus. There was a guy who's really famous who has a group that gets to go with him to every event until their businesses go broke and they gotta go back to work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's real, man. It's real.
So just a couple quick last questions. Number one, Aaron, I got to do a session 2 with you because I love, number one, 8th grade education, and you're probably one of the top CFOs I've ever heard. I don't know if you've ever been called a CFO, but after this conversation, I've seen the numbers you crunch, and it basically is math. You got to turn a profit, and you got to come up with a mathematical formula. How do people reach out to you? They want to just see more of you, or just what's the best way?
So we're in the process of launching a YouTube channel that is actually going live like this week and next week. So they'll be able to start following me there. They can find me on Instagram. I never posted on Instagram. I'm now starting to post there. They can find me on Facebook. I never did anything there. But the only way they're going to find me on Facebook probably will be to follow me. I probably won't take any more friend requests. But those are going to be the easiest ways to track down all my stuff. We're going to start putting out a lot of free content when it comes to YouTube. So that's where they need to start watching. That's probably going to turn into probably several hundred pieces of content a month here in the next 30 days. So we've hired a pretty big and powerful crew for that. And I'm super excited about where that's about to go.
I love it. Is there a book other than the Bible and E-Myth and Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and probably another dozen, Think and Grow Rich, and I could go on and on of Good to Great. But is there a book that's out of the ordinary that you just are just really, really passionate about?
Yes. The number one book I've seen help more people than any other book is The 5 Pieces to Life Puzzle by Jim Rohn. It's a paperback, a 1/4 inch thick. That book. Another one that's a favorite of mine, they're both right here on the bookshelf, is Be My Guest by Conrad Hilton, How He Built Hilton Hotels. Another great one, The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. That's a great one.
What's so funny is I can't get enough. I was listening to an Audible book this morning, and I can't get enough. And I'm by far books on my shelf that I haven't read because I'll buy them 30 at a time now. So last thing here, we talked about a lot of things, and I do want to do a part 2, but I want you to just, whatever's on your mind, whatever you think the audience needs to hear. I took so much from this. Number one, I'm going to make a lot of people listen to this, but maybe we didn't hit on a topic that's your just high on your heart right now.
You know, I think the biggest thing with me right now, just kind of the hot button, is it's worth it. And I'm going to leave it at that. It's worth it. And what I mean is, as you grow your business, it gets hard. And you agree. I mean, it gets hard. It gets hard for me. We can't run our businesses the way we do today like we did yesterday. However, every new level I get to, I've never looked back and said, I'm on level 14. I wish I was back on level 12. But every time I get to level 14 or 15, I look forward and go, do I really want to go to 16 or 17? I mean, is it worth the price? And I was talking to Ed Milet. I did a podcast with him after he spoke. And he said he actually told some people no on some things, because he said he started to climb to the next rung and he said, it's just not worth the squeeze. And it made me think, well, was he overworking himself? Was this going on? Was that, what made him say that? What was going on in his personal life? And all those things can make you slow down, and they're valid reasons. You should stop. But I have to say, if I'm looking at level 16 or 17, and right now they're scary, you're just like you're looking at level 18 or 19. That next level, it's always scary for everybody. Every level you get to is scary. However, once you get used to it and settle into that level, you never are willing to go back. So to all the people that are following you right now, that are listening to Tommy driving around, and maybe you own a little plumbing company, you're trying to take some of his advice, or you own an HVAC company, you're trying to take advice. You own a garage door company, you're trying to take advice. I would just ask yourself, think about, even with all the frustrations and all the pains, how far you've come. Look back at where you started and say, would I ever want to go back at all? Because at one point, when you were just a guy in a truck, the next level looked scary. And you're there now. So let's look backwards and remind ourselves we don't want to go backwards. And so while the future is scary, it's worth stepping into. Take courage. Try this new thing that maybe you've heard Tommy suggest. Try this new angle. Just embrace it. Just trust and embrace it. Because think about your past. You've never regretted how far you've come. So let's not start now.
I got one quick side note, just real quick, about Ed Milet. And I have heard him talk and say, I could work 3 6-hour intervals, and he goes from 6 to 12, whatever it is, that I work 3 days to year one. And I'm thinking to myself, my time does not equal outcome. My time behind a desk, it's how well can I lead and delegate and build a business? And I think that might be one of the reasons that he's going, I can't fit 4 days into 6 hours. That would be 24 hours a day. And he's always said, and I know he's changed a lot, but he's like, I could outwork you. And I've never, that changed about 5 years ago for me. It's not about how hard I could work. It's how well I could lead, get people to buy in and delegate
100%.
and have everybody win. And I think I wouldn't want to go to the next level of working hard, because that's just burnout. That's nutty. But hey, man, I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I was late. I think you're world class. I'm going to definitely have you speak at an event, actually my big event. I'm lining it up here right after we get off this. But I appreciate you very much, my man, and I appreciate our friendship.
Wow. I appreciate you. It was great having you out last week. Guys, props to Tommy. He flew all the way out in person to be on my podcast, even though something else fell through. And so I really appreciate Tommy, and your whole team was great. Bree's great. And it was awesome, man. It was awesome.
Yeah,
and
dude,
and Ed has changed his tune, by the way. When he was there, he's like, he feels like he's coming out of that grind culture. And he said that to me.
Well, the deal is, when me and Bree got back, Bree goes, I really, really love them. She's like, I want to do some stuff outside of work with them. So that's a good sign, because it's very rare that she says that.
Yeah. My wife actually said the same thing about Bree. She's like, she's pretty cool. It's the same thing. What's cool for both of us is I think we've both done a good job of staying down to earth and not forgetting where we came from.
That's right.
And that's the difference. I gotta tell y'all, Tommy can eat some hot wings, bro. Oh my god. He's tearing off those paper towels and wiping off the sweat.
Yeah, that got me. What was that place called?
Hattie B's.
Hattie
Hattie
B's. Yeah.
B's. He
Well,
mowed it
brother,
down though, y'all. He mowed it down.
I ate them. I'll be seeing you soon, man. I'll reach out to you later this week.
All right, man. Take it easy. I'll see you.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.